Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Another Russian attack on the Ukrainian grain ports on the Danube, that is at the border with NATO country member of Romania. And it was a night attack, and I have here an article and a few maps. All right, so let's get going with the article coming from Ukrainska Pravda. Russian night attack on Danube ports destroys grain destined for Egypt and Romania. See this? I don't believe this thing. That's the first thing, because it might be destined to Romania, but I don't think it's for Romania. Destined to Romania and then dispersed probably to the European Union. Why? Because as we know, and if we don't, we can again check the United Nations data, the Ukrainian grain, out of 100%, 38% goes to the European Union, 30% goes to Turkey, 20% goes to China, and about 2% goes to the global south, the one that these guys are telling us that they're starving because of Russians imposing a blockade on the Ukrainian grain. Not about the Europeans, not about the other ones that I mentioned. It's the global south, the 2%. This was according to an article that I covered about a week and a half ago, coming from the Russians using or citing United Nations data on the Ukrainian grain exports. All right, so let's go to this article and see what the Russians were able to do in these ports. So I don't think that is, was destined to Romania. And I will show you, I kind of know one or two things about Romania, and I don't think Romania needs grain to start with, okay? And I will show you why on the map, and I will tell you why Romania doesn't need grain. On the contrary, Romania exports grain. So, this article comes from the 23rd of August 2023. Another Russian attack on the Danube ports on the night of 22-23 August resulted in destruction of 13,000 tons of grain and damage to grain and port infrastructure. This is according to Alexander Kubrakov, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Communities, Territories and Infrastructure Development of Ukraine. And I'm quoting this guy. There was another Russian attack on the Danube ports. 13,000 tons of grain were destroyed by Russia as a result of the Shahid drones attack on the port of Izmail. Several private grain silos and warehouses and cargo infrastructure were damaged. End quote. I'm telling you, some people make a lot of money with this private thing. I tell you that. Besides the fact that I have a big, huge gut feeling that there's a lot of corruption over there coming from all sides. But war profiteers were always there, regardless if they were arms profiteers or they were food profiteers, things that sell, prostitution, alcohol, and so on. Let's move on here. And I'm quoting, the agricultural products were destined for Egypt and Romania. Yeah, probably Romania in the first spot. I don't know about Egypt. I know they'd get some Russian as well, Russian grain. But Romania definitely doesn't need Ukrainian grain. If it needs, then F off Romania. Why? I will show you on this map, and not only. Okay? So today is the eighth attack on port infrastructure since Russia withdrew from the grain initiative. In total, 270,000 tons of grain have been destroyed in a month of attacks on ports. Last night alone, the export capacity of the port of Izmail was reduced by 15%. It was the port of Reni before that where 35,000 tons of grain were destroyed. End quote, Kubrakov said. He stated that stopping Russia's attack should be a goal not only for Ukraine. They always try to drag other people in this, like, hey, it's true. I mean, it's partly true, but it's a pattern. They always try to get NATO involved and other countries against the evil Russians without looking at certain actions that actually they undertook. So, I get in trouble, let's put it this way, with my neighbor. My neighbor fucks me up, and then I'm calling the whole neighborhood to come and help me. But why did I get in trouble with that guy? Well, because that guy over there wanted me to get in trouble with that guy. All right, so it's kind of like this little rotation here, or circle. So I'm quoting this guy who's going to try to get our sympathy for this, our empathy. The world needs to understand that attacks on grain infrastructure are attacks on countries in Africa again and Asia that are already running out of food. Okay, remember what I told you about that little data? These are attacks on global food markets. What? How about the Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2 pipelines? How about that? How about the sanctions on the markets, global markets, European markets based on the gas and oil coming from Russia? Oh, Russia is the bad dude? Ah, okay, so you can do whatever you want? Okay, I got it. And you're the good dude, right? Right. If these guys want you to think like a toddler, like a infantile individual, just in terms of plus and minus, that's it. Or, good and bad, or good and evil, or white and black. There's no nuances, there's no, different capacities, that's not like that. You can't, how should I put it, be on the right side 100%. There are nuances. But hey, this is the way probably they think, and they know most of the population. If you go around the building a few times, or the block a few times, you're going to realize most of the people think that way. So they just focus on that strata of the population, that segment that thinks this way. Why? Because those guys will vote, and those guys will have demonstrations, and they will be moved left and right depending on how these guys want them to be moved. Anyway, I'm not supporting the attack on those grain silos, obviously, but it's a war, but I don't like weasels, These are attacks on global food markets, which have already reacted by raising the price of wheat due to the shortage of Ukrainian food after the suspension of the grain initiative and attacks on the Danube ports. End quote. Preventing more destruction is a task not only for Ukraine, but for the rest of the world. So what, do you want them to bomb Russia? How about that? Is that what you want? How would Russia stop? By bombing them, destroying them? And Russia will just lay down and die, correct? This is an infantile worldview. And you can say, well, that's not what they want. But what do they want? How do you think they would stop the Russians? By bombarding them? Or what? Talking to them? They don't want to talk to the Russians. Well, what's the other option? War. That means what? Increase in what? Why is this guy crying about the international and world and global? He wants to get everybody behind their cause. That cause that is not about grain. It got to grain, but it was not from there. So, you have to analyze the situation in its entirety, not only on the grain. And hey, global, we bomb Russia. How about NATO goes and bombs Russia? What other option is there? Sanction them? You already sanctioned them. Or you want nobody to buy anything from Russia? Is that what you want? The global embargo? Is that what you want? Yes. Okay. All right. Powerful defense systems for our ports are what can disrupt their plans. Okay, that's another option. Ukraine is fighting, and the world must fight with us. Okay, so you're on the right side of history. So again, it says that on the night of 22 or 23 August, Russians had been attacking Odessa Oblast, which had drones for 3 hours, damaging grain storage and production and transshipment facilities. A fire broke out in the warehouses and was quickly contained. All right, so let's get to the maps. I will have the port of Ismail, I will show you the Odessa, and I will show you the map of Europe. And I will show you who is the basket of Europe. All right? So let's go to the first article, the first map, and we're going to get it from Sputnik because it's the easiest. Why? Because it shows you who's who, what's what. So obviously this is Ukraine, this is where the war occurs. And here is the Black Sea. They show us here the Sukhoi 30 and the drones attack on the boats, the Ukrainian boats here and here. I posted the video yesterday about that incident. So Odessa is right here, okay? The port of Odessa, and the port of Ismail is right here. Let me show you like this. You see right there? It's right here. This is the arm of the Danube River, one of them. I will go back to this map. Where is it? Right here. And this is the Danube River, comes north here and then turns east. And from here it goes one arm, another arm, and the third arm. There are three arms right here. Okay, Kilia, Sulina, and Sfântu. It's 1, 2, 3. I don't know how many are navigable here. You can use them, for transport. But I know this is the one that's used between Ukraine and Romania. Reni was hit right here a few weeks ago, and this is Galat. This is the border with Romania. Here's the border with Moldova. So here was the one that was hit a while ago. And then this is what was hit this time, Ismail, right on the border. And as I said, this is one arm, this is another one, and this splits in another one. So there's three arms. So here is the one, Ismail, and you have Odessa right here. Now, regarding exporting Ukrainian grain to Romania, Romania was considered, and you can find this I think you should find it everywhere. Romania was the basket of Europe. Now they switched that to Ukraine somehow. Ukraine is the basket of Europe. Ukraine was never in the position to give Europe anything, especially grain. Why? Because during the Soviet, how should I put it? They were not considered part of Europe. They were considered part of Europe, but not, They are. I think the Ukraine has currently a bigger production of grain than Romania has. But the problem is where you can deliver your things. So anyway, Romania has probably the second biggest production of grain in the area. So Ukraine is the first. Romania is the second. My point here is not to say who's first or second. My point is Romania does not need grain from Ukraine whatsoever. And if it needs, that means there's something terribly wrong with Romanian's economy, which it's not impossible. So let's go to the other map that I have here. So this is, how should I put it, geographical map? No. And here is Romania, and here is where Romania has this basket of Europe, this area. This area right here is where Romania produces and has its most fertile. This is right here is Transylvania, so this right here in the south. This is the area. Now, this is Ukraine, and they have their own fertile soil. It's just true. So don't tell me these guys. And another thing, why don't they send it from here to here, and they go to Europe easier than to go here? Is it because the easiest and the cheapest way of transportation is water? And then they get here, and then from here what? Go the Danube River upstream to wherever they go, or they just go south here. Now I know that Croatia, I think, said that they will open their ports. I think Croatia was it? I think so. They said so. They tried to export it through Croatia to the Mediterranean Sea in the end, and then go to the Atlantic Ocean. But they don't need to go to the Atlantic Ocean. These guys are waiting for the grain right here. They don't have it. They don't have it. So anyway, my friends, the Russians attacked those things. Obviously, that's an economic war as well, directed by military actions. And why don't you go and talk to one another? That's my point. You didn't have to get to this point. And besides, if you remember, the Ukrainians also destroyed one Russian, blew up one Russian tanker. Supposedly that tanker was getting fuel to the military. That's why military. But grain goes only to civilians. The military eats, I don't know, leaves or something. But anyway, this is it, my friends, and more to come, because I don't think the Russians will allow the Ukrainians to compete with them on the global market. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.